Right. Let's have a look. Looks like we are live, 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 live. Coughing into the microphone. No one want to ask any questions? Girl Balls has joined the chat. Hi Ben, Obs and Weed, stoked to be here. Well, you're not here. You're on the line. KGU Corp, welcome members of the Discord to the YouTube stream. I'm waiting for JJ to join me, but I'm not sure if he's going to. So in the meantime, let me just do a little bit of Ronaldo and move that out of the way. Drink water. Any questions? Any theories? Anything fun that you want to share with the free watching? I think one of them's me. I'm not sure. No questions? I guess actually there's a delay, isn't there? So I've just talked asking for questions and now I've got to wait for you to that's got to catch up. So we should get right. So if question time, how many episodes are you going to do on 9/11? Sorry, it was if it cleared up elsewhere. Um the plans to do two episodes on 9/11. One we're going to film one tonight and one tomorrow or Thursday depending on certain things. The first episode's it's going to be not another history podcast. I think there's a lot of stuff we need to get into and explain to kind of explain where we got to on our theories on 9/11. Um, I'm not sure if I want to go any deeper than that because it's going to ruin it because it's massive. It's a massive, massive undertaking and it's a massive story that needs to be told in a massive way. And what better to do it than 20 years after it happened? Thank you, Girl Balls, for digging this up. This is the studio where I work. This is the podcast part of the studio that I work. It's a film studio downstairs, and then there's edit suites and stuff like that. So, but yeah, Cryptid Ramblers record here as well, and we're hopefully doing more. Mick's here. Hey, Mick. What was your first conspiracy that you got into this? Like, see, I think it was 9/11 that got me into it. That's the first time I realized that everything wasn't as it seemed. I'd like to say it was Princess Diana, but I was far too young to realize that that was a thing. Um, but yeah, I think it was probably 9/11. It was yeah, I think 9/11 was the first one. And then I think someone showed me Zeitgeist and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting like kind of thing." Like I never thought about it that way. But when you rewatch Zeitgeist, because when you first watch, it, you're like, "Oh, this is a bit naughty. I shouldn't be watching this. This is the curtain has been pulled back. I've seen secrets that I should know about." But then when you watch it again, you're like, "Oh, this is mental. Some of this is absolutely clutching at straws. Like the interview things have been cut, so it's like, what's the word? So it's very like they've picked the right bits. It's very picked and choosed, and it's edited in such a way to kind of tell a story that isn't completely real. And I know it's on when we talk about these things, and I know me especially with the podcast. I know we haven't done one since March as well, which sucks, and we're sorry. Um, but yeah, it's not been since March when Dean was here. But that's the thing. Like Dean's been over, and then he's gone back to work. JJ's gone back to work. I've started this blooming studio. So it's been like pretty full on, but we're hoping that these episodes will bring us back into the game. You know, we've got to keep up with fucking Cryptid Ramblers because they are about to overtake us. In fact, I think they might have done. You know, I can't even remember how many podcasts we've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. They have overtaken us officially. They have overtaken us. They've got 19. Let me just let JJ into the. Where's he gone? We are live. Don't say fuck or bugger. we got. We're fielding questions from people on the YouTube.
Oh.
I'll ask you some of the questions they've asked because I've already answered them my way.
Just give me a second. I just need to sort this shit out.
He needs to sort his shit out.
Oh yeah, I swore already. Is that immediate?
No, I was joking. I think you can swear.
How do I? I've just put my headphones in. I don't know how to. God, it's so frustrating.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Right. I'm going to answer this question then that's just come in, and then you can take on after. Are there any conspiracy theories that you don't buy into at all, like not even a part of them? There was one. There was one that I was talking about the other day that I just totally didn't buy into.
Flat Earth.
Flat Earth is that Flat Earth. There you go.
Obvious. Oh.
It's Flat Earth. I don't buy into Flat Earth.
So there's an interesting one recently. Obviously, we haven't spoke to each other properly in a while, apart from over the internet, about cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's a massive conspiracy.
Well, there's some really big rumors that the people are giving this illusion.
I love it when you start something with there's some really big rumors, because that's like some of the best bits in the podcast of that.
I mean, rumors. There's an idea that the illusion that now the power's been put in the people's hands, when in fact that the big thing is that people are selling all this stuff, and then one day they're just going to have a huge sell-off, and the price is just going to be completely worthless to the consumers, which would essentially be part of the big reset. And somebody at Slam Dunk the other day spoke to me about it, and it's been leaked, or I say leaked, it's been a QAnon thing for a while. So that would be an interesting one, because I'm really invested in it, like mentally and financially. So it's kind of
yeah, you can get out now.
Yeah, so it's one of them things. Like, it would be really interesting to see if that would be a thing, because even the corporations would start failing quite miserably, because there'll be private corporations that are in control of, you know, they'll probably get little leaks here and there about like, oh yeah, you know, sell off now and you'll save a bit of money. But there's just been a big dump today, and there's a lot of stuff going around about how it's controlled. It's still going. It's like everyone's like, oh, it'll stop. Since I've pretty much this morning, it's just been constantly going down, resetting, and then going down even more.
Yeah, I sold a load on Saturday just because I needed the money, not for any reason other than that. But let's not bore people with crypto.
Yeah, no, that was the conspiracy that
you talk about there. So I was listening to, because I've been doing the mad research today on 9/11, just picking up those pieces here and there. And what I heard was quite interesting about corporations, how people think that the New World Order is the UN and governments joining forces. It's not. It's corporations that are free to join. It's the McDonald's, they can go, they're across the world, and it's the McDonald's, it's like the Walmarts and places like that. They brought out Asda, they sold it again, but like that's where the New World Order is going to come in, because the corporations have all the control now.
Yeah.
Governments are paid by corporations to do what they tell them. And that was the last, and it's quite interesting because a lot of people saying that the last really fair and real election was 2000 when Bush got in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
So. Well, it does come part and parcel with blockchain and crypto and stuff, because it's the people essentially who own the technology. So there was a big thing a couple of months back so shortly after the Elon Musk FUD about him not accepting Bitcoin anymore. And then he put up this advertisement about superchargers or superpower chargers for your house. And then shortly after that, there was this big sort of like war game-esque thing, which I guess we will talk about in the 9/11 thing in the in the later episode. Because there's a community of people, I believe it's in Ohio, and they're currently going under an experiment where they completely remove electricity.
Yeah.
And it was weird because it just really coincided with Elon Musk selling these solar panel superchargers for your house. And so this thing's called Cyber Polygon.
Yeah.
And it's basically a test to see how people, like, they've controlled groups, like people, if they don't have a kettle for a week, people who don't have a microwave for a week, and then they're doing ones like people who don't have the internet for a week, people who don't have the internet for a month, people who don't have electricity for a month. And I just figured, I guess it kind of does link in with what we're talking about, because somebody told me, again, won't go into it too much, but somebody was talking about how oil was always the big thing, that the reason why countries would get invaded.
Yeah.
Whereas now apparently there's a strong correlation with lithium.
Yeah. Because of batteries, all our batteries are lithium. And
it just so happens that Afghanistan have a lot of lithium as well, which is really weird. It's almost like we're getting out so they start another war just so we can go back over there.
Exactly. It's the forever war. And there's always going to be a new bad guy. And it's normally a bad guy that's created by America. And it's normally a bad guy that was once an ally of America.
Yeah.
What I'd be interested to see is when oil does become less important, or when Saudi Arabia's oil reserves run out, how much of an ally they end up being, considering like, and I know this is it's getting into like 9/11 kind of theories, but like, that's mad, isn't it? Like the Saudi Arabia thing, they're an ally, but they've got so much money, they don't actually need America. They're only an ally. For them, like for America, there's got no, like Saudi Arabia don't need America.
I think that one of the hard things for me is that, like, obviously it comes into the simulation one we did as well. It's the construct of the value of things that we assign, like especially dealing with this cryptocurrency thing. Like, so as soon as it gained like mainstream popularity, it was almost just like a hunt to who could find the most scarce and the cheapest. So like, there's a guy who I follow, and he literally now every 5 minutes he's like, just sold all this, just sold all that. He's a multi-millionaire, like the kid's from fucking Barnsley or some shit. Yeah. And he's just like, oh, just sold this and sold that. And then like, it's almost like people on the internet are turning on him. He's becoming his own little like powerhouse, like leader, again, going off on a tangent, and I'm not drunk tonight.
People could be disappointed.
But the question was ones we don't believe in.
What we don't believe in. I don't like. There's a lot. Flat Earth, straight up, do not believe it.
I don't believe the moon's made of cheese.
No, I don't believe any of the hollow Earth stuff. I wish I did, but I think we know too much about. I do think that it might be something underwater in the seas, but I don't think there's a hollow Earth.
Did you see that recent thing? It's again because we haven't spoken such a long time, like properly. Have you seen that layover chart of the correlation between missing people in America versus their underground caving systems?
What as in Hellier?
Yeah, it's insane. I completely forgot to tell you about it. So basically, I should have saved it. I don't know why I didn't. It's a map of America, and it's got pinpoints on it, and it says people who have gone missing or people who have been declared missing in the last 30 years. And there's a strong kind of like just north of New York going all the way up to like East Canada.
Yeah.
And then there's like nothing in the middle. And then there's just this like weird like band all the way through, like, I don't know what area it would be. So it's like sort
Kentucky
of like, no, the kind of, I mean, possibly could be. My geography is terrible, but then there's like, so basically it's the west side, but a little bit more inland. So I would probably say like Arizona and Texas.
Like Arizona and Texas, yeah.
Arizona and South, like
Nevada,
obviously through Nevada.
Yeah.
And then there's this map underneath, and it shows you underground caving systems, and I was just like, fuck,
that's crazy.
But when it says underground caving systems, I looked into it, and a lot of they're not underground caving systems. They're things that have been cut through mountains. So they're not, they aren't caves. They're not like undiscovered. They are man-made caves. So I'm guessing it's like people who've just gone off the beaten track or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But it was a really interesting thing. I'll try and find it actually while you're...
So weird how much Hellier is just in our lives still. I know the Cryptid Ramblers was just done 3 episodes, and I literally listened to put their part 3 on just to like give it a skim, because I like to listen to like some of their, as much as I can of their podcast when I get time. Literally as soon as I press play, I walked past a de-inflated helium balloon.
No way.
Literally, I sent them a picture. I was like, fuck. But it's like, and you brought that up, like everything seems to lead back to Hellier. Even someone in the group earlier, I think it is Girl Balls in the YouTube chat, or Obswee.
Can we just confirm it's Girl Balls, not Goebbels?
No, yeah, but I've been saying Goebbels because I think it's fan.
All right, okay.
Obbenswee, she literally said praise Pan, almost maybe not the first thing, but like the first thing she said today, praise Pan. Like, it's crazy how much it just links back to this fucking thing.
So I found. Oh, sorry. I found something, and it's on Snopes, but it says Watch True, and it says there is a similarity that exists between people missing and the correlation of cave systems in the United States. However, this is not a map of all people who have gone missing in the US. It focuses on the so-called strange disappearances. So I'm like, that's what we would look at. We wouldn't look at the people who disappeared and then were found in fucking Malaysia. Yeah. Like we're looking at people who disappeared and never returned.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, someone just posted it in the Discord.
There it is. Oh, the picture.
Yeah.
Oh, that might have been where I saw it originally.
No, literally just posted 2 seconds ago.
Oh, right. Okay. So it says the top map shows mysterious cases. Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah, the top map shows mysterious cases, and the bottom shows limestone caves and lava caves.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's pretty fucking close, isn't it?
I mean, you could lay it over the top and it would be like, oh, okay, there's not... correlation obviously doesn't mean causation, but it's a bit...
It's close, the number. So... My apprentice, who's no longer my apprentice anymore, I guess, she was talking about how she'd listened to our Hellier one. And for her to tell me she'd listened to it, I was like, fucking hell, good on you, because it was a tough one. She said there's a website that show you strange analytics that just happen to match up. Yeah. So like really, but she was like, there's so many on there that really do like correlate, but they're just really strange coincidences. It's just like, I don't know, flights that aeroplane. Let me try and find. I'll message her and ask her what it was, because again, not very prepared for this shit. But
another question from earlier, because I'm going to go and shut the shutters because I'm aware that I can't hear if anyone's going to nick my bike or on my cameras. Right. What was your first conspiracy that got you into this lark? Mine was Bohemian Grove, and that's from Girl Balls. We're back in 2.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I would probably say the 9/11 one was the one, because I mean, I think I was maybe like 13 when 9/11 happened. How long ago? It was 20 years ago. So yeah, about 14. And I think for me, like, it was the one that was kind of like, it was just weird because it was just something that you've just never seen before. So immediately your little brain's just kind of going, oh yeah, that's not right. Like, that things like that don't happen all the time. So I think if they'd have just immediately just gone, yeah, it was like this and nothing came of it, everybody would have just been like, oh, it was just a terrorist attack. Oh, just a terrorist attack. Obviously, that's bad. But yeah, I mean, Bohemian Grove was like pretty shortly after that. I know that this is an ancient thing, but I just don't think it was ever something that I'd really even considered. I think maybe I was a little naive shit when I was that young. But maybe I just did think that the government wouldn't do anything like that. I used to probably think, oh, they'd do things to look after us, surely not to hinder our progress as people. But yeah, I think Bohemian Grove is probably up there. I just remember seeing the Alex Jones video, and I found out the other day someone else apparently did it prior to him, but he had some like weird name, and we never actually got around to that. But yeah, Bohemian Grove was definitely up there. I think obviously, in fact, no, I lie. Obviously, the big one is aliens. Like UFOs is obviously the one that you reach at when you're
aliens are real.
Looking at the sky, sci-fi movies.
Have I just unplugged you?
Yeah, I was just saying. I think it was probably 9/11. No, I don't think so. Or maybe.
Yeah, I did. Oops.
I was saying 9/11 was probably the one that got me into conspiracies, and then I was like, oh, actually, no, probably. I think it was just when you're younger, you just don't. I'm just saying, you don't consider the fact that the government would like do you over in any way. You just kind of think, oh, yeah, they're there for your best interest. But then I was just thinking about the UFOs, and in my mind, I think when you're a kid, you don't correlate like mortality as much. So you just kind of like, oh, I'm probably going to meet UFOs when I'm like 60 or something. It's just something that you just meet or get when you're older. But then obviously you realize that it's like either a cover up or it's not real or whatnot. So I think the first time I acknowledged a conspiracy was probably like Area 51 or something, but that must have been like early teens, maybe late.
I've got it. I know what the first thing that made me get into this was. Fucking X-Files. It was the X-Files. That was what got me into. There's something out there. There's something. The truth is being hidden from us. It's the X-Files.
Do you know the weirdest and the strangest story ever? The weirdest. This is a conspiracy. I've never watched it ever. I've never seen it.
Mate, honestly, you will fall in love with that program.
Hand on heart, I've never watched it.
You should. It's on Amazon Prime. You will love it. Every moment of it is just.
I watched the first 2 episodes, I think, recently, and immediately I was just, I don't think I can get on with this. I just don't think I can do it. And I had it on in the background for a little bit, and then I was like, no, I'm not invested. And me and my girlfriend have just recently said we're going to have to do it because we went through like doing all the film trilogies, and then I was like, we have to do something else now because we've got like the rest of our lives rather than just a couple of weeks off for work. We've literally got to watch them every day now. So X-Files is on the list, but never.
Yeah, X-Files is probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
I tell you one that I did really enjoy that everybody said was very much like X-Files, and it was, again, X-Files was trying to be based on scientific like reasoning, wasn't it? It wasn't made to be so West. Fringe.
Oh yeah,
absolutely loved it. I thought it was incredible.
My mum and dad like that.
It's so good. It is really, yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe I don't know. I don't think X-Files was ever.
It is. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where you get invested in the characters. I think so. Yeah. You have to really get into it.
Like 10 fucking seasons of it.
Yeah, I've more than that. I think it's like 15. I'm not sure. So I'm getting a lot of hell yeses, X-Files in the chat. Yes. Callum just said that the conspiracy guys did the Missing 411 podcast, which they did. So definitely check that out. Those guys do way better research than we do. And they both do it. It's so it's equal.
Yeah.
Callum says Fringe was good, but Girl Balls is saying you need to see X-Files, especially the first film.
Do you know what? I've probably seen the film. I think I probably have seen the film.
Yeah.
I remember that being like the production level was like a lot fucking better, and I think I could get past it.
Yeah.
I think some of the sort of fake UFO videos you see these days are like a million times better than the CGI in the films. So it's quite hard to decipher what. Film. Yeah, I know. To be fair, like Transformers, it's literally just CGI. The whole fucking thing. That's what.
Yeah, most of it is now.
Yeah.
What else was it? Yeah, I really liked it. So I remember me and my wife before the kids were born, we watched every episode of X Files all the way up to the films. But we got the films in at the right order, got all the, and then we watched because it was, and then we watched the new ones that came out on Channel Five.
So are the films in different
They,
chronological order from where
yeah,
they were released, or
they sync in with the release of the
in the
seasons.
series? Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
they brought out newer X Files, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I liked about the X Files is that every season they did like a silly episode, like they did like like a Swamp Thing type
Yeah.
character. The best episode ever is Tooms though, Victor Tooms. That's the best episode. You should start with that and then work away back around it.
Victor Tooms.
It's called Tooms.
Again, is that one of the Men in Black ones?
No, his bones he's evolved. His bones can
You
stretch.
see this. So this all rings bells. I'm sure I probably watched it when I used to go around to my grandma's house because she used to have me watch
She
like
loved
Outer
X-Files.
Limits and
Oh,
well,
Outer Limits.
honestly she had me watching like Outer Limits and Urban Gothic and all that shit. You know, like scary stuff when you.
Come on, JJ lad, you need to get into all this shit.
She's
It's
not
all real, you
Scottish.
know. I can't do it. Anyway, you really need to get it. I can't do it. Fuck it. Oh well, JJ's Scottish grandma loved the X Files as well, people. So
yeah, she did. She probably loved it more. She definitely loved it more than me. She saw it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, has anyone got any more questions out there?
Is this on YouTube or?
It's on YouTube, yeah, because
right.
our audience isn't on Twitch. We've got like a couple of hundred subscribers. We've got 250 subscribers on YouTube, so let's stick with them. Mick says that I remember having the Tooms VHS. I had all the VHS because
Was that like 2 episodes per VHS?
I think it was about 3.
Fucking hell! You must have had a very long house.
Right.
I mean, there's no possible way you could stack them. You had to do them lengthwise.
Each box set was like that, and it was cool because you could line it all up.
It had an image on it. That's the only thing I remember. That's why I said you must have had a really long house.
Yeah, they never stacked them, did they? They always did go across.
Yeah, silly, really.
Video library.
Who has a bookcase as long as that? Apart from a man who owns a limousine company.
Why would his bookcases?
Why would you carry your X-Files DVDs?
He's got a VHS player in his limousine, and he's got a whole shelf.
Well, probably most limousines probably do have VHS players. Like I can't ever see a guy like retrograde in his limousine.
I've never been in a limo.
No, never have I. Oh, in fact, I lie. I was in one in Hungary when I was on tour with Asking Alexandria. I think it was Hungary, and the guy who organised the event took us to this club, and the club was fucking shit. Like it was the worst club I've ever been to. It was just full of like really muscly men, like with glow sticks, but they were like all pumped on like fucking drugs, I guess.
It was a gay bar. Sounds like a gay bar.
Yeah. That's it. The limousine fucked off and just left us there in the middle of Hungary. We had to fight for our lives.
They were hungry for love.
Hungry for love and
whatever in love means. So we got any other questions out there on YouTube world before we start just doing impressions of Prince Charles? No one's got one. No one's got a question. I guess it has to catch up a bit. There's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably because the whole world's network's gone down because of the crypto crash.
Do you reckon that's it? Do you reckon?
Oh my God, it's happening again. It's literally happening again.
What, is it all dropping again?
Yeah, not good. Every time Coinbase goes back online. So one of the big things is, again, does stem into conspiracy theories, but all the trading longs, so people putting in buy orders or setting sell prices, but with high leverage, they're all getting liquidated. So today, $2 billion worth of actual money got liquidated in Binance.
Really? What, people selling off?
So I don't know if you know anything about leverage trading, but it's almost like a promise to buy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So you basically put in £500 and you put like a 10 leverage on it. That gives you £5,000 to play with. But if you go below your sell,
over 10,000,
you get liquidated, and the people who have lent you the money get liquidated. So it basically it basically just completely bankrupts you.
So many people have been
So
liquidated.
people are getting washed out all over the place.
Fuck.
Apparently, somebody put a $12 billion order in for Bitcoin, and it got liquidated this morning. Yeah. So so when everyone's talking about this big like FUD, which is like fear, uncertainty, and doubt,
Yeah.
when everyone's trying to do all this, and they're all talking like, oh, it's getting regulated, it's getting regulated. That element of it should be regulated. Like it should be getting regulated because there's young kids literally going bankrupt before they're old enough to even go
Because
bankrupt.
they don't understand, do they?
Yeah, they don't understand. They just see a
the
fucking
same
X.
reason. It's the same reason 13-year-olds are out there stabbing each other. Because
Yeah.
they don't understand.
They don't understand that it results in death.
Yeah, or bankruptcy,
or prison.
It's the same,
yeah.
same reason people go to university. They don't realise they could be stuck in debt for the rest of their lives.
And they also don't understand that
People are
the thing
idiots.
that they're fucking wasting their time on when they're wasted, they can learn everything they learn at university on it.
On
Just call the
YouTube,
university YouTube. Like,
yeah.
taught myself
Well,
how to fucking weld.
I
You
quit,
know what I
I
mean?
quit my masters.
I taught myself a
because I
trade
didn't learn
over
anything.
lockdown.
Someone's just. Firstly, girl
Or
balls.
something you probably already fucking knew.
Yeah, girl balls. I forgot to clarify that I'm male. So we didn't
Oh.
assume your gender, did we? Sorry if we assumed
Well,
your gender.
I didn't. I thought it was girl balls, but if you're
It
now
is
saying you're
girl balls.
all right, so it's not Goebbels.
But, and then
Joseph
no, it's
Joseph
not. And then,
Goebbels.
and then his picture or they's picture on Discord is of a girl. So I'm, that's me assuming gender, and you should cancel me immediately.
Oh, we're on Discord.
I'm just
Right,
looking
okay.
at Discord. No, we're on YouTube, but I'm looking at this. I'm flipping between because it's.
I've got
Discord.
one for
Someone-
you. I don't know how if this should be or will be flagged. Don't think it will. But we've been having this conversation about racial stereotypes recently at the studio. So obviously now, not ever now. It's never been okay to do an impression of an Asian person. Okay. So where is your stance with this, right? Doing this with your hands. So for everybody who's not watching, or everyone's watching, doing this with your hands and going, spaghetti. Is that racist?
Yeah, against Italians.
Yeah, exactly. That is my stance on it.
It's
If you
not
can't,
racist. It's not racist.
it's xenophobic.
Doing an impression of someone is not racist.
Oh no. But if you're the same people who are saying
yeah.
doing a Chinese accent is racist,
You can't do an Indian accent. You can't.
yeah, so that's really offensive to Welsh people.
Yeah, exactly. I do. My Welsh accent, my Jamaican accent, and my Indian accent are all the same.
Brilliant. Yeah, so that's my stance on it. And the only reason that it's almost like the only reason people get bothered by it now is because they've pulled someone else upon it. So if they pull you up on doing something like, it's fine because it's a little inside joke in the shop. Because yeah, somebody did it the other day and I was like, whoa, you can't do that. There's going to be many Italians offended by that. And they didn't really understand what I was getting at. And I was like, never mind, it's lost on you. Well, it's not lost, but bless her.
Yeah. Someone, Kaiju has asked, have you heard about that weird spirit cooking ad that Microsoft released in early 2020, then walked it back super fast? I haven't. I've asked him to link it.
So if he's referring to spirit cooking as in Abramovich, the crazy spirit cooking woman who's got she's got a Filofax like the devil. I have heard of it, and it was very like, ooh, and then they kind of just very much like the Wayfair thing, like that just kind of got like no one bothered with it, and it still hasn't really been explained.
Yeah,
but I'm just going to remind myself
that Wayfair thing. I still genuinely believe that they were using that to launder money.
Yeah, so do I.
So
going on to the Wayfair thing, I had to explain to my friend the other day that so basically we were talking about crypto and he went, oh yeah, but all you can spend it on is drugs. And I was like, well, no, you can't because Silk Road's closed now. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, think about how many drugs you've ever bought with actual cash. Like you can't just write something off. And anyway, I started reading about this thing and there's a guy on eBay who's just been done for it. He's just done what Wayfair does. So he's sent out this little code book of things, and then he's just put a link to his eBay page. So it's like 12 hammers and nails, which is like, I don't know, fucking loads of weed or whatever. And people are just buying 12 hammers and nails or whatever, some shit. I mean, don't search that.
Someone found him out. Someone dobbed him in.
Yeah, because he was basically sending a fucking like a thingy list. Anyway, I've just found the spirit cooking thing, and it just so happens to have Marina Abramovich in it.
Yeah.
And again, after right-wing conspiracy theorists accused her of Satanism, it wouldn't even surprise me if fucking Apple put out this article, because, I mean, let's be honest, Microsoft, who cares? Like, you're in a fucking cult if you have anything to do with Microsoft, in my opinion. Says everything.
Or Apple.
Or Apple, yeah. I was going to say, the world's biggest cult.
I'd say Apple's a bigger cult than Microsoft.
I don't think I wouldn't, because the technology is there with Apple. And the thing is, it's very much similar with, again, what's going on in crypto. Everyone's like, Ethereum this, Ethereum that. It's like, yeah, but they've had their time and they've fucked it up. They've not done anything right. Whereas in Cardano, they've taken fucking a long time doing it, but they've got it right. It's the same as Apple. Like, an Apple MacBook's no more superior than a laptop that came out 5 years ago. But my MacBook is absolutely fucking fine. Like, it does what I need it to do, and it never has any problems. The one time I had a Microsoft MacBook, Microsoft MacBook, that dodgy Microsoft MacBook that I got off the back of a truck, it just was riddled with problems.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just do what you're doing right, and then it is a cult, because that's what a cult is, essentially.
I built that PC Hackintosh thing for Edit Suite, and then I did try to install Windows on it, and it was easier for me to turn a PC into a Mac than it was to boot up a PC. And that might just be me not knowing how Windows works, but it was just buggy from the get-go. I had this amazing super wide monitor, and the Windows would only load in the middle of it. I'm like, the fuck?
Stupid. It's just absolutely it's a bad system. The system's been built from the ground upwards, and it's been built badly. And it almost is, every time they keep bringing out an update, it's always just like, cool, so you haven't rebuilt it, you've just added something on. Like, it's exactly the same as sidechain stuff.
Yeah, it's built on DOS still, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. Whereas Mac OS X is built from the ground up when they did the first X, and then I think they rebuilt it again for Big Sur. Kaiju has said Apple is a big enough cult that I am writing my masters about them.
Yeah.
Tell us more, Kaiju.
I'm not even denying that Apple's a cult. Like, I think the problem is, again, it's the same as the word conspiracy. The word conspiracy got taken way out of context to alienate a group of people who might be telling the truth about something. And it's the same as cult. Like, there's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with cults. It's
doomsday cults and ones where
the bad. And it's the ones where the people are almost like being made to feel like they're being controlled by a leader. But if the control's for good and the person's life was going on a fucking downward spiral, like, don't see the problem with that. Like,
Scientology,
and any religion.
Look at Tom Cruise.
Like, I mean, any kind of religion is going to be like, it's almost, at least cults take responsibility. The leaders take responsibility for what they're doing. In religion, they just go, well, we know that this guy said that this other guy did this that was to represent what this other guy did. It's like, come on, mate, get some fucking, get some balls, have some integrity. Just admit that you're trying to get money out of people. Don't be like, you might go to hell if you don't do this. It's like, fuck off. At least Apple go, come on, you can use a Microsoft computer, but if you do, you're probably shit at what you do, and just buy our products. It's loads more expensive, but it lasts 10 times longer.
And it works straight away. Same with the Google, I guess with the Google Chromebook as well, because that works straight away. And my sister has got one of them. I've just literally looked at my Coinbase portfolio balance. And at one point today, I went from £4,942 to £3,792. So I lost £1,200 today. People. And that's not good. It's not good. That's a lot of money to lose. And now I've closed it. Now I feel shit.
You haven't lost it though. You still own the asset.
Yeah, it's
so.
I've not. Yeah, I've just the value
honestly,
of the asset.
Since I bought my first bit of cryptocurrency, not the first amount that I bought some in late 2016, made a profit on it, sold it, and look at it now, and I cry almost every night looking at that old wallet.
I'm going to say it now. I bought one Bitcoin at £500.
Yeah,
and
I had half a Bitcoin and 4 Ethereum, and I was like,
I sold it for £700. I was like, yes, got £200.
Yeah, I did the same,
but,
not even as much as that.
And I was like, but you can't dwell in the past, guys.
Do you know what's really annoying? I think I've got about, not a lot of money, but I think I've got close to like 10,000 Ripple somewhere in an Exodus wallet, and I bought it at when it was less than a cent. And I'm pretty sure it's in an Exodus wallet, and I can't for the life of me remember the keys. How are you ever going to remember the keys? I think when I first signed up to Exodus, I think he had 4 words you had to remember. Now I signed up to a wallet the other day and it was 16. Yeah, but again, you don't even have to write them down anymore. It's just on the cloud.
Yeah.
But I have written them down.
You don't put it in notes or something? On your phone?
I have done now, but I didn't back then. Right. It was like 2016. Like you go, but I tell you what, I went and watched the other day. I went and watched the original iPhone presentation.
Yeah.
And I was like, this must have been like late 90s.
It's fucking 2007.
Yeah. I was like, oh God, this is awful. But yeah.
I remember getting that. I remember buying it on O2 with a pay-as-you-go, getting it as pay-as-you-go, and then putting my contract SIM in it because it was too expensive. Because
the silver one.
Yeah.
And did you?
Plastic back?
Yeah. Did you jailbreak it?
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah.
And it
jailbreak it. You get all the apps. Yeah.
There was no apps, was there? It was just.
It was the American market had the apps, and then I think it might have been when the first...
You could only use web apps on the first one,
which was the metal one with the black bit on the bottom.
Yeah. Then when the 3GS came out, which was the plastic one, that's when the App Store came out.
Yeah.
It was still, it's the same as my car. It's like groundbreaking. It's like, I'll never go back. Like sometimes every couple of years I buy like a Samsung, and I just sell it. Like within 6 weeks, I'm like, no, this is shit.
When the pens came out for all the tablets, Samsung released I think it was Note.
Yeah.
I had it probably about 4 days. Cost me like 450 quid. Put it on Instagram for like 300. Guy offered me 250. I was like, yeah, have it. Shit. And then literally the iPad came out, like the iPad Pro came out a year later. And I was like, I'd rather go back to pencil and paper than use that primitive shit technology that was just rushed. It was like you would draw a line, and it was almost like the thing that you were drawing was just chasing the pen. It was so slow. It was just like, ah.
Drawing on the iPad Pro is like amazing, especially you got that paper skin on it.
I haven't, but I don't really mind it. I quite like it now. It's almost like it's easing my wrist a little bit.
Yeah.
There's little nibs you can get as well, which is pretty good. But.
I went back and I was doing some drawing the other day on a piece of paper, and I was going, why is this not working? Trying to do the thing. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's paper, you can't.
Oh, right, on the actual paper. I thought you meant was the screen protector broken.
No, on the actual
I had one
paper.
Of those and it was quite hard. It was quite thick as well. But
genuinely doing it on actual paper.
Yeah, I've talking about your car. I got a notification about the Cybertruck the other day, saying that it's going to be more than likely fall 2022 before we get them, so, which is annoying.
Yeah, but it gives you enough time to recoup all that crypto to buy one.
Well, again, I put the money in to get a deposit, and my current portfolio, I can buy it outright. It's fucking insane. But sick. But it's maybe not now. It's probably completely gone.
I'm not going to look now. I'm not going to look again.
Don't
I'm going to leave it. I might, do you know what, if
it's just going back up again. It honestly, like, so I was lucky enough to go through the great fall of the May drop. And
that's when I bought loads more.
Yeah, you see, I got in just before that. And I told everyone about it. No one gave a fuck. So all my mates now are all just like, basically in this last all-time high, they're all like, I finally made back all that money you told me to spend. And I was like, I told you to buy it at the beginning. Yeah. Just fucking sell it. I told you to buy it at the beginning and they didn't. So luckily enough, I'm still in green, but
yeah,
we will see. So smart contracts comes out in a few weeks, so we'll see.
I've been in the green the whole time because I did some good investments early on.
Yeah.
Took all my money out, and I've not put any more cash in.
Yeah, that's the same.
2 years. I just keep swapping and changing, but basically on your text messages. So when my kids start, I do it all based on your text messages. I tell the kids, Uncle JJ is in charge of our lives now. Who's Uncle JJ?
Yeah. I mean, I did some really good ones with Ethereum when it was really volatile. Like I bought Ethereum at like 1,200 quid, sold it for 2,000, and then it went to like fucking 3,000. I'm talking dollars.
Yeah.
But then I just kept buying ADA. So that's all I've done, like basically for my initial investment, just keep flipping it. But again, the banks are just fucking us royally. Like my mum gave me some premium bonds when they sold their house, and I looked at how much money I'd won versus how much money I would get in a bank. And I still got more money from the premium bonds than I would have done with the 0.1% interest in a bank. But it's still laughable. Like it's banks using your fucking money to buy shit for shit.
Do you know what they're doing now? They're just buying properties and renting them out as shell companies.
Yeah.
So they're just, if you are a banker, and I don't mean a bank teller or the receptionist at fucking Barclays, if you work for a bank, a big bank, you are a cunt. You're a horrible piece of shit. And I know you're not listening to this because you're probably doing cocaine and drinking champagne in some
out of a young boy's bum.
Yeah, in some shit like Hilton Pear Tree, like under an assumed name because you're an awful human being.
I'm with you on that.
Absolutely.
So every single, for anybody who's listening, every single bank account. So I've got quite a few bank accounts for my business. Every single bank account, bar HSBC, have banned me from buying any cryptocurrency, but they'll let me go into a casino in one day and spend £3,500.
Yes, they will. They'll let you. Let you go over your cash withdrawal limit in casinos.
Yeah,
it's fucking crazy.
So probably let me spend more than that. It's fucking dog shit. So for anyone who's listening wants to get out of the banking system, but you don't want to get into crypto, get a Revolut card or get a fucking Monzo card.
Yeah.
Although I've heard some pretty shady shit about Monzo recently. But,
really?
Yeah.
Tell me more, because I've got my business and my personal bank with Monzo.
So because Monzo's claiming it's like, what is it? Monzo is technically decentralized. It is, but it isn't, because it is another legacy bank. It will become a legacy bank. So it will become one of the big banking systems because a lot of people use it. But there's been loads of stuff recently where seller protection and buyer protection, like rights have just been completely. There was a guy had bought some like computers for his business, and basically they all came smashed. Again, it's not Revolut's fault, but it does say up to £10,000 a year they will replace any broken like things. I'm sure it was like something like that. And obviously the first person the person went to was the bank, because that's one of their things on their business account is that they will replace up to £10,000 worth a year of damaged goods.
Yeah.
And they didn't follow through with it. And it was just basically the guy said it happened. And it was almost like 3 or 4 weeks before I got an answer. And the thing is, yes, decentralization is fantastic. But if Monzo's just being run by one person, you're still giving that bank your money and they still use it how they want to. Like, it's almost like with a normal banking system, you might, say have 10 grand in there. And if they're using it, that's fair enough, because they've probably got like 10 million employees, maybe not 10, but, let's say 10,000 employees. Whereas in Monzo, kind of claiming that they're decentralized, but they have to be centralized because there's somebody in control of it. So,
well, they're based in Shoreditch, Monzo. That's
Right.
where that's where the bank technically is. You know, we have to.
It's a
give the address.
great campaign. I mean, they did wonders with that Illuminous card. Like that was probably
how
the
many
best
you
thing
can
they've
just see
ever done.
someone everywhere with that
Yeah.
coral Illuminous card.
Yeah.
I've got two.
I just signed up to Revolut. And
Yeah,
their
so,
premium
Health Vibe.
account is like free airport lounge, free delay lounge, free insurance on your flights, 12 quid a
Really?
month. I pay $12.99 a month for my premium account with HSBC, and I think they cover my phone replacement, but I have to pay £120 excess.
Yeah.
Whereas in this is a full replace on Revolut, it's a full
Revolut, yeah.
replacement of up to £10,000. Like it's basically, I mean, if you sign up to, there's a crypto.com, which have just done a multi-million-dollar deal with the UFC and F1. If you sign up to their Obsidian account, which basically means you have to be loaded as fuck because you have to put 300 grand in and hold it in there for like 4 months, basically accumulated interest on their Crow coin. If you pay for all your subscriptions, they give you the money back. So you can have Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Spotify.
Yeah.
And if you have that account, they give you all the money back. You just pay for it with that card. But with Revolut as well, like if I went into Pizza Hut, paid with my Revolut card, the price would be the full price, and they get 40% cash back.
See, I've got Revolut
Incredible.
for business banking. I might get a Revolut card then.
Go for Revolut, man. I think again, there's loads of negativity around all these cards because it's people who have had a bad experience, and then you get loads of people on board going, yeah, and blah blah, and it's like, yeah, but if you add up all the bad experiences you've ever had with your bank,
in NatWest, they
NatWest are the worst.
They fucked me. Like in the middle of the pandemic, right? They just randomly closed my business bank account. Like,
did I tell you about when I went in to put money in? She went, where have you got that money from? I'm like, my business. And she was like, well, businesses are closed. I was like, yeah, I don't come in every day and fucking deposit my money. She was just like, we need a proof where it's come from. I was like, I've been banking with you for 10, 15 years. You've never asked for proof where it's come from. Like, where's this come from? She was like, well, it's not that. It's just we're not allowed to touch cash. I'm like, well, right. So is it you want to know where it's come from, or you want to know who's touched the cash? Because it's in my hands. Like that, there's no argument where it's come from. Like, and I put in like money all the time, and I've done it for so long. So I stopped going there. I was just like, fuck it, I'll just pay my bills. I'll just transfer some money around from my inheritance and stuff.
Yeah.
And I went in last week. Am I right depositing this now? She was like, yeah, no worries. Why wouldn't you be? So basically, you're just like, you just didn't want to do any work, or you just kind of, I don't know, just trying to throw people under.
It's scared, man.
I mean, again, cashless society surely is going to be a thing in the next 10 years. Surely. Because why wouldn't it be? Half of the places I go to now don't accept cash anymore. They're just like, oh no, we're just waiting for all this to be over. I'm like, it's never going to be over. This is it now for forever. Forever.
It is forever. We've said on the podcast, it's like, it's only a matter of time till tiers become a thing. Like tier systems. It's just like, you can't go in this area now for 6 days. Like,
have you seen Australia?
Lockdown again, aren't they?
Have you not seen? You might have to search for this all on DuckDuckGo. Right, Somebody put up this thing saying the world's biggest outdoor prison. It's hilarious. It's just a picture of Australia. They're almost starting. It's just been compared to North Korea.
What, the starvation?
Just all sorts of stuff. Like, so they're bringing out an app where you have to take a selfie where you are, wherever you are, and it geocaches your location. And if you're not within the location that you say you should be, you get an immediate fine.
Fuck.
Australia location.
Critics say that the state government could have acted earlier to tackle the outbreak of the highly contagious Delta variant. So they're saying that there's an outbreak. Wasn't it like one case?
Yeah, but because they
That's
dealt with
another
it
thing.
so well before.
The cases, the fact that we've moved on to the word cases instead of death shows that it's not affecting people anymore. I've had it, and I'm vaccinated, and I've had it. My mate Brad, he's vaccinated, he's had it.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law isn't vaccinated, he had it exactly the same amount of time as I had it, and I was vaccinated.
Yeah.
I don't think my symptoms were as bad, but it was the in and out of our system the same amount of time.
So one of the big things now is that people are. So I'm not going to mention names. But I had a customer, and he was very aware that I was very much against getting the vaccination done. I have had it done now, so it kind of doesn't matter. But there's doctors in certain places taking 400 quid cash to just write it on the system that you've had it. Right. So immediately, my first thing that I thought was like, yeah, they'll be putting a stop to that. And everyone in the studio was like, how are they going to put a stop to that? And I was like, well, every fucking time you have a vaccination, it gets data tagged or something, you know, and they're like, oh, what, like microchips? And I was just like, how can you tell somebody that you've had an injection if there is no physical data attached to the injection itself, unless it is inserted into you? Like, there is no, the corruption element of the whole thing is like, so basically, you know, I don't know if you've seen, we were talking about it. This is actually what got me back into cryptocurrency, was the NFT thing, because we got chatting about it.
Yeah.
So somebody was arguing the other day about, oh, what fucking people are selling JPEGs? Like, why? And it's like, well, you know, have you got a Picasso, or do you know anyone's got a Picasso? And they're like, well, obviously they didn't, but they're like, yeah, but that's different. It was like, no, it's not. You have to pay somebody to verify that Picasso every time you sell it. So every time you sell that painting, it becomes less and less valuable. Like, no, that's not the case, because it gets more and more rare. And it's like, it doesn't. Like, Picasso was a painter. Like, he didn't do multiple copies of one thing. So every time, you know, the price goes up, but that's because of inflation. It's not because of, it isn't because it's worth more. It hasn't become more scarce.
Did you know that, and this is a synchronicity or just a coincidence, that there was something like 5 or 6 Pablo Picasso paintings went destroyed when the 2 towers collapsed?
I've heard that. Yeah. I heard there was also a few other weird documents.
£10 million worth of art missing. Got lost. But I don't know what.
Yeah, I've also heard there was a lot of rare Jewish books in there. But going on to the Australia thing, I've got the article here in front of me. Australia unveils Orwellian app using facial recognition software, geolocation to enforce COVID quarantine orders. It says South Australia, but that's not true. It says South Australia is one of the 6 states down under, has unveiled the new Orwellian app using, so it's working now. Yeah. The app is designed to track domestic travel in Australia. It says you will have to prove that you are obeying 14-day quarantine by uploading a photo with a geolocation to prove you're within 15 minutes of being, to prove you're at that location within 15 minutes of being pinged by the app. We don't tell them how often or when. It is on a random basis, and they will have to reply within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So you could argue, how do they prove that? It's like, oh, my phone was off. Why was your phone off if you were in your house? You know, you've got electricity, and then, God, fucking the world.
That's insane. Yeah, my mate Brad's, he obviously tested positive, but he's been like, they just bombarding him. He's not even got the app, and he's got people ringing him and texting him going, and his Ring doorbell keeps going off. Like, he's out. He's meant to be self-isolating, but he's given up because I'm jabbed. I've got it. I've not got any symptoms, so I'm fucking going out.
Yeah.
And he goes, the Ring doorbell. They ring the Ring doorbell. They go, "Hi, we just come to check you're in." He goes, "Yeah, I'm in. I'm in bed. I'm in." And then I go, "Can we come in?" No. You can. No, I'm in. You can tell I'm in. They go like, "No, the Ring app you can answer from anywhere." He's like in the park round the corner.
He needs to get like one of them Mad Eye Moody eyeballs on the door. on the
Yeah.
doorbell, just so his eye looks like he's in the keyhole. Like, I'm here.
Just put a little hand through, just like
Yeah.
on a. Hi.
Like one of those coffins that used to take money off you. You
Yeah.
remember it?
There's one like the little panda comes out of the box.
Yeah.
Aidan Myers says that's because Australia has become the new China.
Hi, Aidan.
Hi,
How are you
Aidan.
doing? I haven't spoke to you. I was half expecting to see Aidan at Slam Dunk this weekend, but I don't know why. I just had this weird feeling that I was going to see loads of people that I haven't seen in years from Newcastle, but I didn't. So hi, Aidan. Yeah, Australia, because they were really happy, weren't they? They were really proud that they didn't have many cases, same as New Zealand.
Yeah.
They were like, and they're blaming it on everyone else. This is one of the things that worries me a lot about what's going on. It's almost like a competition of your, your country. It's almost becoming really a bit racist. Like, oh, my country's better than your country. Why? Because we didn't let loads of Afghani immigrants in. Like, even though we haven't flown our own people back yet. I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah. That's
also, did you see the? Maybe it's something we can talk about actually in the podcast itself. But did you see the Afghani soldiers wearing? the Taliban wearing the American kit.
No.
The Americans left. Oh
I know they left loads of. They left like $2 billion worth of gear.
$85 billion worth of equipment.
Sorry, yeah. What? And they were just wearing all their outfits and shit.
The BBC were there filming, and they're all just there. There's a dude. He's got a really shitty old rusty rifle, but then he's wearing a pair of I think they're like $1,000 night vision goggles in the middle of the day, and they're all wearing these little like desert bucket hats, and they're all like proper proud, like just stood there with all this equipment. And then it cut to another scene of just loads of blown up helicopters, and went, yeah, but don't worry. They don't have any access to the like, the real devastating weapons like the helicopters and stuff. I was like, yeah, because they're really not going to know how to use a fucking helicopter. Let's be honest. Like,
they will.
They're wearing night vision goggles in the daytime. Don't think they're going to be able to fly a helo.
We never
It's
know.
like you playing Call of Duty, throwing that fucking canister out. Airdrop. Where? In the circle. All right, in the sea.
I haven't played Warzone since that day.
I was telling someone about it at the festival. It was absolutely howling.
Splitgate, man, I'm quite good at.
On what, sorry?
Splitgate, have you played that?
No.
It's amazing. It's free to play. Girl Balls have said, not Goebbels, Girl Balls, who's a boy, not that we're assuming, are they telling us that the next lockdowns will completely remove any and all self-sufficiency? What better way to make people entirely reliant on their leaders? Also, the cashless society thing is definitely moving towards the Chinese-style social credit system.
Yeah. Who have just released their own digital currency.
China bucks.
We can't have any access to it. Yeah, China bucks. We can't have any access to it. Even as a traveller, you can't have access to it. But
because it's all based on social credit, right?
I'm not too sure because they banned all other cryptocurrency, took the technology, made their own, and now they're letting people use the outside cryptocurrency. So it was almost like they wanted to just take it, study it, give you it back, and then just completely destroy the other ones. So the digital yuan is now available. You now can use it in the subway, not the sandwich shop, the train station subway, and I think you can use it for like all public transport. Again,
and that's just that, and then that's the model then that everyone else is then going to take on. Every government's going to have crypto coin, crypto sterling.
They gave us. So I found out the other day whether it's true or not. I found out VeChain is actually a Chinese product, and it's purely based on all the research from all the other cryptocurrencies that they studied for years and created. So VeChain is my go-to. I would say for everybody if you're looking at something to invest in.
Hear that, guys? Invest in VeChain.
VET.
VET.
Yes.
VET. So that's you don't just get conspiracy nonsense here. You get some sound
uneducated crypto nonsense.
Yeah. and
I'm still not
uneducated
pissed.
conspiracy nonsense as well.
Yeah.
The best way to punish the society is make up figures and cases and blame the populace for not following the obscene mandates. That is absolutely true. If that's why they they released the full lockdown, like they got rid of lockdown, so they could say. But when they did it, they then went, but have a bit of think before you do things, so that it's on us straight away. Instantly.
That's why the vaccine's still not out of emergency, out of crisis, because we've done it through free will. So if there's any issues with it, like for instance, one of the main reasons I didn't want to get it was I was probably at a higher risk of dying from a respiratory issue or a heart-related issue than I was COVID. So I was massively against getting it done. And the only reason I did get it done was because I knew that I would need it to travel, which has become even more apparent. So now we're apparently going to be lifting. Well, we're apparently lifting the traffic light system in the UK on the 1st of October. That's whether that's all like scribbled on a piece of paper kind of thing. It's not 100%. I was reading something about it last night. But
I also heard that we're going into another lockdown for 2 weeks in October. So
they're extending half term for 2 weeks in October rather than 1 week. That's all. That's like it came up on breaking news this morning, and it was breaking news. Boris Johnson considers extending lockdown through half term at schools because something along the lines of mask mandate isn't working within the school system. I was like, right. So the kids have been back at school a day and you're telling me that it's not working, right? So you've obviously got something else planned. They just know that this increase in my opinion, this increase in the national insurance, they're gonna now need to make it look like the NHS is struggling even more, just so they can go, you see, we needed to increase the national insurance because at the moment everyone's like, well, hang on a second, everything's kind of gone back to normal. Like I had a physio appointment today for the first time in X amount of time, and it was a week delayed. It's not 1.24%, increase, and it's because of they keep talking about. I heard someone talking today about it's because of the care homes. And I was like, but the reason why care homes it's a good thing is because people work their whole fucking life to buy a house. And then as soon as they're ill, the money just gets filtered out into the fucking care home. And that's it. Your money's back into the system. And everyone's like, but what has anyone else got to do? And I was like, because you've provided for a system for fucking 50 years, 60 years, and it should look after you. You shouldn't be like, I'm working my whole fucking life to pay for my care home.
It's bullshit.
It's fucking stupid. So obviously the NHS is like on its ass, and people, I had to take my fucking cat to the vets loads over lockdown. I think we forget that we don't really pay for our healthcare system.
Yeah.
And the cat's healthcare was extortionate. But then I've spoke to people, my friends who've like broken their arm in America, and it's $7,000. For the treatment of breaking your arm, being there for like 20 minutes, getting it casted up, and then going back for like one follow-up appointment, $7,000.
Yeah, Dean's got loads of stories about his healthcare over there in the States. It's just
obscene.
Yeah, we are so lucky, and I don't think we'll ever lose the NHS. I think what will happen is that private, because that's what people don't get. I think what they think is that we're just going to lose the NHS. No, more businesses are going to get paid off by the government for doing things on the NHS. So it's going to be less. It's just going to be corporations getting their fucking claws in, and it not being a healthcare system that's provided by the government. It's a healthcare system that is paid for by the government, but it's extortionate, and they get loads of money. That's also
the thing that Goebbels said about making people feel like they have to, it's their fault. That's what'll happen. So you'll get given the option. Do you want to go through the NHS? It'll take 7 weeks, but you've got terminal cancer, or do you want to do it privately? And the people who are ill are in desperation. Like they still hang on to but the private one must be better. And and it's like, no, hang on a second, it's terminal cancer. Like
it's express lane. It's like it's easy boarding on EasyJet, or like jump the queue at Alton Towers.
So Disney have just got rid of their fast pass. Really? After Disney were one of the like few places that did a free fast pass. So every person who bought a ticket got three fast passes a day. I know we're talking completely different between someone's fucking health and going on like
but it's the same principle, isn't it?
But it's the same idea.
Yeah.
But instead of them bumping it up and going, well, we've got rid of the fast pass, but we've also reduced the ticket prices. They've just gone, no, we're getting rid of the fast pass. And nobody bats an eyelid. Whereas if that was fucking 40, 50 years ago, there'd be people striking and fucking, maybe not on the level of Disneyland, but things getting taken away from them. And I think they've just realized over the years that we as a generation have just become so soft that we'll just sit back and take anything. And it doesn't, and all this shit that's happening in France at the moment, the only parts that are getting shown are the rebellious kids who are like, they don't know why they're being rebellious. That's the problem. They're just doing it because it's cool or whatever. And then it shows you a couple of bad cops beating up a girl in a mall, and it makes it, but it doesn't go, what we're going to do about it. France is still fucking rioting now. Like they're still going absolutely apeshit. And it's because
they not watched the news in 5 weeks. I don't know what's going on in France. I just found out about Australia 2 minutes ago when you told me.
So in France, you need to be double vaccinated to go in a shopping mall. So they opened this shopping mall in the morning and a girl went through without showing a pass. And the police are arguing that the reason that she didn't show a pass, so they believe that she's a threat, which is fair because she didn't show a pass and she went through. I'm not arguing that, but it's a fucking shopping mall. It isn't 3 untrained terrorists getting on a plane. Once they've said that they're not interested in learning how to land the bastard, they just want to fucking... I know we're getting too far into this, but like...
15, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about that one plane. Yeah, over X amount of planes. So like...
There's, so this is another thing, and I definitely want to touch on this. So a lot of people... there's a podcast, listen to Not Another Conspiracy podcast. That's us. I listened to the last podcast on the left, and they was like, the only question I can't answer is how they were good at flying. And they weren't good at flying. It's because, and this is another bit of research I did that they must have not found, is that on planes, there's a GPS system that you can just go, it's almost like sat nav, but you can, it's like the autopilot. You go, we need to go here. You need to go to this exact point, which is the Twin Towers. And it just took them there. They just needed to learn the GPS system. That's why they got good at flying. That's insane. And that is a little tidbit of what's to come later today on the episode.
We were just talking about it. It's a bit off subject, but the fact, I mean, you'll know it a little bit more because you're a bit closer down there, but they still do the knowledge, the London knowledge.
Yeah.
The taxi thing. Why? Like,
it's a rites of passage, I think.
Again, it's historic bullshit. Like, somebody, so not recently, because everybody uses rotary machines now, but I saw somebody slating some young kid using a rotary machine. Fantastic tattooist. And a tattooist I know from York wrote on it, but you wouldn't use a horse and cart to learn how to ride a car, which I thought was fantastic. Like, people are so set in their ways. Like, it's the same process, but you're using new tools, and everyone's just like, and I just don't get it. Like, you see those, and it's almost like, again, that seems to have becoming a privilege thing, because how long does it take to do the fucking knowledge? It takes years, doesn't it?
So I was working with the driver at a place I used to work was doing the knowledge in the evenings and going. Obviously, there's classes. They do classes as well. So he was doing 3 nights a week, just riding around on a moped, learning like these routes that you have to like do in the test. Yeah. And then on 1 night a week, going to the classes to kind of help the memory classes and stuff. It was a year, at least a year of doing it.
It's absolutely insane.
Fail, you have to start again.
Yeah. People these days talk about all these privileges and stuff, and I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older. I am starting to realize like how much that system is just almost like corrupt in the way that it's just trying to put you off doing things because of time and money. That's all it's doing. It isn't because of the safety of the people or anything like that. It's literally just because, and I get it. Maybe it's because there was loads of people rushing to London to want to be a taxi driver, but it's almost just like, it's the same as the education system at the moment. I think they've realized that, oh, well, hang on a minute. We've got an unlimited supply of money coming in here to teach kids like bare minimum, but they're like, you know, they're in learning
And not even
spaces where
online now, and it's all got
Yeah.
staying online, a lot of it.
exactly. I mean, the education system is like absolute bollocks. Like, I mean, Aidan, if he's still there, he'll tell you that the majority of the time I was at university, he'd probably just find me on the floor in a nightclub spewing on myself. So it was like,
I dropped out.
yeah.
But I just started my course, didn't I, in January, and I was like, what's the fucking
Yeah.
point?
The only point for me was to get out of York. Like, it was just a different city. Like, education wise, I didn't give a fuck. It was, again, and that I think that's probably why kids will continue to go to university. They're not going to put fees down; they'll just put them up, and it'll filter out the poor people, and then this great divide thing will start again. And it's almost like it's going resetting back to like Industrial Revolution era, where you've got people. What skills have you got? Well, I learned this myself. Yeah, but is it certificated? Because you're actually paying for the experience. We're like, all right, okay, so no, then we're like, right, go shovel shit.
Yeah,
you know, shovel shit. That's when the credit system will come in. Yeah.
Well, it's like, it is like, because a lot of people go, oh, it's a race thing. It's not. It's a community thing. It's where you're brought up, and it just so happens that because of this systemic racism, I guess racism is the word. It means that predominantly those poor, underprivileged areas are predominantly black because of this. They don't get the opportunities that white people get. You know, but it's leveling. I think it's leveling out. Let's go.
You think it's leveling out?
I think the balance of color probably more than not.
Oh, right, yeah. I was going to say, because it will be, because of like immigration is always going to have that. It's always going to have that effect because, you know, 500 years ago, 100 years ago, flights weren't prevalent, and, you know, boats weren't as, you know, that is a demographic thing, 100%. It's just, hopefully that does filter out. But then again, there'll just be more divide somewhere else. There'll be the difference between the school educated and the non-educated. And then it'll be like, oh, you're privileged because you went to primary school, and you got into secondary school because you went to primary school. And it'll continue. And that's not a race thing. That's a social that's a social divide that's going to get worse. One interesting thing that there's a cryptocurrency creating is they're creating a decentralized internet search engine. It's called Graph, I think. One thing I learned, which is fucking weird, and I asked one of my friends in America to search the same thing, and I asked a friend in Manchester. If you search something, because of everything your phone knows about you, it gives you completely different results regardless of location. So I always thought it was always like close to like the internet you were on or something like that, but it's now got down to like social circles. And this is why that separation between DuckDuckGo and Google is so shit, because DuckDuckGo can't get information on you. Yeah. They can only get information from you based on your search history. Yeah. So the more you use DuckDuckGo, the better it gets. It's self-learning, whereas with Google, it's linked to every single account you've got on your phone. So it knows the things that you've looked at on other phones. I mean, that's not new to anybody, but I didn't realize it was so vast. Yeah. Like, it's insane.
Because that's what I had DuckDuckGo as my search engine on my phone, and I had to go back to Google.
It's so bad. I started using it more and more often, and it's better. It's loads better. And one of the things I was looking for a currency converter, but I wasn't looking for a currency converter. I just wanted to know. So I typed in what I wanted to change. On Google, it obviously just gives you the answer, and then the little micro app, the widget thing. DuckDuckGo, it didn't the first couple of times, but now it does. Yeah. So again, but it isn't decentralized. So it's something that's probably just going to get worse because they can sell data, and that obviously makes money. It's the silent killer. Where's Dino at? I'm absolutely, it's like a volcano in here.
Do you want to have a break then? Because he is just leaving now. That was 4 minutes ago. So.
I'm fine. Again, what? Is there any more questions?
Has anyone got any more questions? As a former New Yorker, the top brass loves segregating based on financial class while pushing the idea of racial divide because I knew many poor people of every color and background. That is you're absolutely right. It will always be a financial class divide. It's not a race divide. Because there's no difference between a white guy and a black guy, or a white woman and a black woman. There's no difference. There is no physical difference. There is nothing. It's all a construct from the people who want to take your money and tell you that guy over. There's a great cartoon I saw the other, like, months ago, where it's a politician or a billionaire, I guess, sitting there with a big plate of cookies, and then there's a white guy sitting on the other side of the table, almost like here. There's one guy here, one guy here, one guy here. Got a big pile of cookies, who's telling the guy sitting there, he's trying to take that guy's cookie.
Yeah.
That is the problem, because that guy in the middle is the evil one. He's the problem. And what stumps me, and it's the thing I ask myself every fucking day, and it might not seem like it, but I genuinely wish and want to know what can be done. And I don't think anything can be done.
It's a systematic thing, like you just said. It stems from like power. What's the word? Like power balance. So that like it comes from colonialism, doesn't it? Because we as white people pretty much took over any indigenous, and I'm not just saying that indigenous people are of color, like, but historically that's probably, that probably is more the case. And it becomes as like oh, well, now I've taken over your land, you have to go and find somewhere else or work for me. They're your choices. Like there's no in between, it's probably even worse than that. You either work for me, die. Like those are the options. And historically that, because I think we spoke about it in one of the things, like, say for instance, like, you've got people who still say they're Irish when they're in America. They've lived in America, but it's their fifth granddad who was Irish, but they're still really proud of that Irish part of them. Because that's almost like in America at that, like now it's still cool, but that's only like socially based. It's cool still, like maybe not like, it's been maybe 100 years that it's like, oh, I'm Irish. He's like, you fucking great granddad or whatever, or great. I'm terrible with like, and that thing will eventually just filter out like that. It can't get, it must always essentially dilute, like it'll always more and more dilute to the point where history is not really going to matter that much anymore, because you're not going to be. This is why I again, when we were talking about the simulation thing, this is why I don't believe we're probably as old as we think we are, or as far into the simulation as we think we are. I feel like I'm now starting to think we're more like level 1 simulation theory rather than before. I was like, I'd say we were probably quite deep into it.
Well, it depends. We might be the simulation within the simulation.
Yeah.
Which is, I just think the world is fucked.
I mean, going back onto what you said, what can we do? What can people do about it? And I think educating children is the only thing you can do about it. My mum had always told me, like, I mean, you educating your own children, like, my mum had always said to me, like, don't ever treat anybody different for how they look. And she always makes a joke. She was like, good job, really, especially considering how you turned out. I was like, oh, thanks, mum. Yeah, that's great. But it's a perfect,
thanks, mum.
Perfect thing, because everyone hates me. So it's,
I had this conversation. I went to a wedding on Friday, and my friend's fiance, she tried to psychoanalyze me, and she was like, I was like, you're not going to get anywhere because it's different. Firstly, I've got ADHD, so I'm fully just going to try and wind you up the whole time, and I will never give you a straight answer. Secondly, I don't get annoyed by anything like personal. So if someone goes, oh, you're ugly, or you got spots, or you're like fat, or that doesn't annoy me in the slightest. You could tell me anything about me and it just wouldn't annoy me, because I know that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And I think it's trying to keep that, because that's, you look on Instagram and there's like, my wife was telling me yesterday actually that there's people in America, not in America, there's just people or women that use filters so much that they forget what they look like.
Yeah.
So when they see a picture of themselves without a filter on it, they forget what they look like.
Yeah.
And I don't know
which
how
is essentially breaking down the construct, though, which again, this part of me thinks this is where we're heading. Like, we are heading into the getting pushed into our houses and consuming the next simulation. That's where I feel like we're about to go to, because
we're gonna live that
Instagram is a fucking simulation. Like, it's not people are like, oh, you fucking talking stupid. And I'm like, Instagram's a fucking simulation. If it was that bad for people and they cared and they weren't making money out of it, it would be long gone now. Like, Norway have just banned fucking people using filters, full stop. And the numbers have just completely gone down. Like, because no one cares. No one cares about reality because they can see reality when they go outside. No one wants to see that. People want to see this fucking Ready Player One bullshit. They want to, they don't want to go home and be like, oh, let's look what happened on the normal Instagram today. People have that with Facebook.
Yeah.
And people, even on Facebook, still talk fucking shit and make out that this person they're not. And that's the next simulation. Like, I think that's it. And I think we're already,
that's probably how
we're well deep into that.
That's probably how the original simulation started. If we're in a simulation, I mean, that's, the more I think about it, the more I see it happening. And if it's happening now, then why has it not happened a million times before? And we're just the next ones, people that are going to get accidentally lead themselves into a simulation and upload their consciousness to the internet and then live forever and then watch it and then build another simulation within that. I think. And again, are we not all just part of a blockchain or some other blockchain in another universe?
That's what I probably think. There's so much stuff coming out at the moment about like NFT games and how you put like almost like Second Life, how you're purchasing experiences. And at the moment it's so primitive. It's just like, oh, check out this. And you're buying like little rooms, but the rooms are made for you, like algorithmically. But people are buying them for like fucking this is how I feel about the NFT thing. I feel that they're onto something with it. Like really, really, because if me and you had started doing NFTs when you first spoke to me about it, we would be those people. We would be billionaires now. And again, I'm not saying, oh, fucking fuck them guys, but there's something about it. They're people selling simulated little 8-bit zombies for $20,000. And like, there's something behind that. And I think it's the first step into like owning you so we're slowly signing away our digital presence. We are like going, oh, this is me. You can have a bit of it for me using your app, like a trade.
Yeah.
And I don't deny that people will be buying, the Ben Mills experience in 400 years or the JJ experience or the Dean experience. At the moment, you can have it for free, but then you can fucking, your family will be kicking themselves like, oh, well, I would have had my dad's experience, but my great granddad's experience, but he fucking sold it. And then, but they might not be in that position because they might be pissed poor, or they might have kept it and sold it, and they might be billionaires and they'll be talking about the same shit we're talking about the poor people. Like, somebody put something up the other fucking day and when in the next 10 years, everyone's going to be a millionaire. Like, anybody in the cryptoverse is going to be a millionaire, and which was like, I don't believe it. And then the guy followed up with, but it's going to cost $500,000 for a pint of milk. I was just like, fair. That's probably what's going to happen.
Look at those. There's that famous picture of Nazi Germany after the war where they were using a wheelbarrow full of cash to buy a loaf of bread. Like, it's just that's what's going to happen, I think.
Yeah.
Girl Balls has asked some questions. Another question for the both of you. Do you guys believe this simulation requires predictive programming? I think what I mean is, like, look at the last few years with all those virus outbreak films.
Every time you say something important, Ben, it literally just goes, which proves that we're in a fucking simulation. So what was the question?
Do you guys believe the simulation requires predictive programming? As in, I think what I mean is, like, look at the last few years with those virus outbreak films.
I think that I'm very much a believer of like the life imitating art. Like, I feel like something like this it's probably a reflection on what has happened prior, or maybe psychedelic experiences or predictions that people have had. But I personally don't think that Hollywood are preparing us for anything. I don't genuinely think that they care that much about our mental stability. Like, I don't think 28 Days Later was created to make us not panic if something like that happened, or War of the Worlds. I genuinely don't believe that's the case, because I don't think that they care about us. But I also, there's that artistic side of me that likes to think, well, maybe that, hopefully that is just something that's come out of someone's crazy fucking brain, and hopefully that is a one-off case, because that is currently the, like, for instance, the sorry to go off on a tangent again, but the AI bots that Elon Musk is planning on making, that, like,
you'll be able to overpower them.
as long as you can run faster than 5 miles an hour, you've got nothing to worry about. I'm like,
yeah, but they can run for 5. They can continue to run for 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
And we obviously
just running 5 miles an hour around your house,
like a shit Benny Hill sketch. Yeah, but I mean, the idea that is going to be our future, to eradicate boring jobs, and that's almost like how they're created. But it's almost like all these crazy like creatives who like made these films. It's almost like they had these ideas, and that's what spurred people like Elon Musk. It isn't like Elon Musk was just like there one day going, oh, do you know what? I really want to fucking put people in, it's something that he's been influenced by. So I genuinely think it's like a hive mentality that we are where we are now, like as a human thing. But I also, that's where I believe we are with the simulation theory, because I believe that there was a point in the first program and it exceeded that point. I think we've probably already got to that. But then there's the idea that we're nowhere near the fucking point, and we're slowly working towards that, and we're working out the kinks. That's where the side chain thing comes on. So apparently, where we could be, for instance, if we didn't record this tonight, we would have been doing it tomorrow, which would have had a knock-on effect. But both simulations would have still been working, because that could have been a really important part in history. It's almost a bit like Back to the Future-esque.
Do you know what it is? Have you seen the What If Doctor Strange thing on Disney Plus?
Don't think so.
So Marvel have done these What If.
Oh yeah, shit. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. Yeah, it's so like alternative scenarios.
So the Doctor Strange one is they talk about a set point in time. So he can manipulate time and he can relive moments and try and change them. But there's this one specific moment in time that whatever he tries, all the different variations, he can't change it.
Yeah.
And the only way he
can
fate, I guess. Yeah, it has to happen. This is a set point in time that if this doesn't happen, the rest of time will not go on.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is quite an interesting point. It's like, it's a simulation theory, kind of like, almost like, if we're in the simulation, do we have these level goals that we have to tick off before we can, like, do you ever play Tropico or Civilization?
I played Civilization like years ago. I've never heard of Tropico.
In Tropico, it's basically the same thing, but it's Cuba, and it's like you make cigars and shit, and you get invaded, right. And it's a revolutionary thing. But to get to the next level, you have to get like 30,000 population, but you also have to export X amount of tobacco and things like that. It almost feels like the simulation would be boring if it was just running. If someone's set up a simulation, do they go? It's almost like when you go like set two football teams playing against each other on FIFA, like the two AIs. Like, what happens there?
We chatted about it in the shop the other week about it, and it was like somebody said it's very much there's two options. Like, if we are in a simulation, why would they make this life so shit? But then I was like, well, arguing that the life before it might have been shitter.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, like, people's life vary on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shit, 10 being okay or whatever, or good. And I think we collectively are having an experience, like, everybody knows about what's going on with COVID. but not everybody knows about the struggle that's going on in your head or in your marriage or whatever. And I think that, again, I'm almost of the impression that the micro whatever isms that make us probably had those very much like what we were talking about before. It's either 1 or 0, and then eventually it's 1, 0 or 2, or 1, 0 or 3, or 1, 0 or 4, and it just kept going. And I think we're probably in like 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 10 billion fold now. And it's those little changes, like microscopically, that change things forever. And I almost think it carries on like that. I think it's more like a virus, like they explain it in the Matrix. So I think we will probably keep growing until we outgrow this planet, which will be cataclysmic. They'll half the population again, and we'll probably go and do it on another planet, but very much like how, like, almost like animals, if they're invaded in their family, in their homes and stuff, they either fight for their home or move somewhere else, and then they move somewhere else, and they go through struggles getting there, and some of them die and whatnot, and then they get there, and hopefully they civilize again, and it's almost like that. But I think we've exhausted
storyline
it.
To Ice Age.
I've never seen it, but yeah, we've exhausted it on this planet. I think.
Yeah.
Somebody interviewed Elon Musk the beginning of this week and said, why are we spending all this money on going to Mars versus why don't we spend this money on exploring the Earth? And he said, why are you asking me this question? Like, I've decided that I think we should go outwards. Like, why aren't you asking NASA? Because they seem to have struggled going any further. Why aren't you asking them to go inwards? Yeah. Private companies have an agenda, and he says, my agenda is pushing civilization. He says, he didn't say NASA specifically, but he said those, private stroke government companies have different agendas. Because he said, if it was possible, they should have been doing it 20 years ago. It's because they haven't got the same motive. Yeah. And I think Elon Musk is a bold guy because he's not, it's like we always talk about it in the shop. It's like opening a tattoo studio and putting your name above the door. Every single person who gets a tattoo there always is using your name's always in their mouth. So if they have a shit experience, they're going, I got tattooed at JJ's. If where did you get that cool tattoo done? I got it done at JJ's. It's that. Yeah. And Elon Musk is very bold with doing what he's doing because people always just they don't even. It's almost like the rest of it's rhetoric. They almost just go, oh yeah, Elon Musk is just flying a fucking rocket into space. Elon Musk's now got full self-driving cars. They don't say Tesla. They don't say SpaceX. They don't say Starlink. It's fucking a dangerous thing to do, but again, he fucking knows what he's doing.
Well, yeah, if he does something silly, the prices of his companies go down. Like he smoked a joint on Rogan and everything.
Yeah, $2 billion joint they call it.
Yeah, but
it didn't literally dropped $2 billion.
Go back up again.
But again, yeah, exactly. It almost. He said something on the B word, which was a Bitcoin conference that I watched, and he said, if you hate private companies, you must really hate governments, which kind of goes against what we were saying earlier on. But I almost feel like those peoples have kind of evolved. They've evolved into that. So governments are so big because they've evolved from being a small thing and they've got bigger. Private companies are a small thing and get bigger and bigger and bigger. It just so happens that he's got 3 companies in our lifetime that have started from nothing and gone to everything.
Yeah.
And I think that
and PayPal, like he was like big in PayPal. He didn't start Tesla.
He sold it. It was he sold PayPal, and again, everyone goes on about fucking what's his chops, the guy who almost just like tried to Billy Big Bollocks him, and like Branson did it as well. Jeff Bezos. Yeah. So like Jeff Bezos didn't do anything. He used an old technology rocket to go to the outskirts of space to fucking
hell yeah,
just to like wheel his own dick. Like that's all he did it for. He didn't do it for the future of humanity. He did it because he's got loads of money.
He's like, well, if Elon's doing it, I'll do it.
Can you ask somebody on the Discord if they've heard of this underground clock?
All right.
Have you frozen? Oh no, right. So apparently, there's Jeff Bezos is building an underground clock. And again, it just sounds like an absolute tax fraud. He's just building this huge clock underground. What benefit is that going to have? And that also concerns me because it's almost Egyptian. It's almost making big stand just before the end of civilization, just so your name is on that planet. Like, somebody was talking about it in the shop the other day, and I was like, "What the fuck are you on about?" And he was like,
he's just a fucking weirdo, man.
oh.
He's got so much money. Did you see the video of him when he came off the flight? He's wearing
I'm presuming that reference was what you just did. Was
yeah, he was wearing a massive cowboy hat. And he went, "Oh hell yeah!"
Again, it's just capitalism, and it's oh god, it's fine. Even the thing with Branson. I commend Branson because he was trying to do it his way using a renewable plane. So he was, I don't know if you saw it, but me and Emma, we were watching the football when England were in the final or whatever, and we watched it. And yeah, I get what he's doing. He's using disposable rockets to fly a reusable plane, which is fantastic. Yeah. Again, it's aimed at commercial use, so it's stupid, but Bezos just didn't even do that. Like, no. He named it Blue Origin. It was meant to be like this super cool green.
It looked like
energy.
A cock.
It was just a big cock that NASA have been using for years. Same project. I mean, someone on here will probably correct me because I don't even give that time the guy the time of day. But it literally had no purpose. No. None of it was reusable.
Just prove he could do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, as soon as Elon Musk, if he tries it with a human and if it fails, that's it. Like, he's basically said, there's only so many times you can fail with a human, and it's usually once, because you then get seen as anti-human, especially when you're building robots to create, did you ever, oh God, again, I'm not even drunk, can you believe it? But did you ever look at the Venus Project by, no. I think he was called Marcus Jacques. He basically was creating a self-sufficient, unless I might be getting
a non-profit organisation that recognises the important connection between global resources mismanagement and problems such as war.
Yeah,
Isn't this the guy? Wasn't this on?
I think he's on the end of Zeitgeist.
Yeah. I was thinking about this the other day because I'd always fall asleep watching Zeitgeist. I'd never got to the end of it. Yeah, I'd always wake up at this bit like I must be on a different video, but it's on the video.
It's resource-based economy.
Yeah, is it happening?
No, I think he passed away actually recently, but I think the project's got passed down to his daughter, and this is the difference in my 80. Yeah, and I think one of the problems is this is the difference between having a dad who's been quite thrifty his whole life and trying to create something great for society and having to take the loss of those things. So you maybe aren't going on expensive skiing trips and you maybe aren't doing all these lovely things that a rich person should do. And then you kind of go, oh, well, he's come up with this great idea. Let's sell it. So let's sell it to somebody who can make profit from it. And then it's just going to become another system. It's just going to become so he was talking about how if your neighbor grows parsnips, you would agree as a commune to grow carrots on your land. So he says it's almost communism, but you are the system is you. So you are the factory. But then he talks about how, there's people who won't be happy with trading one parsnip for one carrot. There'll be people who want two parsnips for one carrot. And at the end of Zeitgeist, it doesn't talk about it, but this almost goes into blockchain technology where the system works out what is best for the system. So you don't have to have those conflicts with each other. The computer works it out. But then there's the argument, who owns the computer? Who's programming the computer? And this is where simulation theory comes into the whole thing, because the computer will essentially work out what's best for mankind. And then the argument is, oh yeah, but what is the computer? The computer's robots. So it almost gets down to it's inevitable that for us as humans, that's what we need. But the problem is we've programmed them. So we don't know what's best for mankind. So what Elon Musk is doing, essentially going to the Mars, is probably one of the best things for humanity ever, because it is taking, I think he's taking 12 initial people up there or something like that, Mars one. 12 people is better than dealing with, 7, what are we on now? Billion?
Yeah,
No,
nearly
more
eight.
than billion. 8
Nearly
billion,
8
is
billion.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Apparently, we're going to get to a point now where it's going to drop. So
yeah.
the population's going to drop and level out to like an actually.
It's because we've all just been fucking sterilized by having a jab.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, that's good because I'm scared to get my vasectomy. So
Well, I haven't got any kids, but so that won't be me having kids anymore.
right.
But
So the guys on Discord.
I'm just gonna go for a quick piss, but I can hear you.
All right. I need one as well, but the guys on Discord have found the 10,000-year clock that he's going to build. It's called the Clock of the Long Now, which will tell the time for the next 10,000 years, and has cost $42 million to build so far. Guess what? My watch on my wrist will tell the time for the next 10,000 years, as long as someone wears it, because it's mechanical. This is nonsense. The huge mechanical clock ticks once per year and chimes once per millennia. This is the most pointless thing I've ever read. What the fuck?
So I heard all of that, and that's exactly what I'd heard. So
the installation. Right, I'm going to do my Jeff Bezos impression now. Installation has begun. 500 feet tall, all mechanical, powered by D-night thermal cycles, synchronized at solar moon, and symbol for the long-term thinking. The 10,000 the hashtag 10,000 year clock is coming together thanks to the genius of Danny Hills, Xander Rose, and the whole clock team. Enjoy the video. Hell yeah!
So exactly that. It almost is just pushing the concept forward of time even further. Like, do we? Time's always the problem with everything that we do, because it's, you know, when they say time is money and stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, but time is also everything else that makes you human. Like time, memories, fucking everything. You can't. And all he wants to do to push humanity forward is build a massive clock just to remind everybody that time is money.
That ticks once a year.
And how much energy?
What if he goes down there and he forgets
1 year's
his phone?
worth of thermic energy to tick a clock?
Yeah.
You know, why aren't you building something that fucking makes, you know, to block the fucking sun from global warming?
Why
that clock will just be fucking melted juice.
Why can't you build something that takes the salt out of water so we can turn seawater into drinking water?
Yeah.
And then then we'll just rinse that. Like, stop wasting your fucking money, you fucking moron. He's like, literally, imagine being so rich. Like, at least Bill Gates does put some effort in it. He donates to charity. He's got these organizations. Like, no matter what people think about these, like, microchip vaccine shit, at least he's, like, he does something. He gives back somehow.
I almost commend Bill Gates because he said he won't give his kids. We've talked about this, but he says his kids are only getting 1% of his net worth.
Which is a fucking load of money.
But it also makes them understand that, you know, they can't just go through life being cunts, like building giant rockets that look like dicks and fucking underground clocks. Like, get your fucking shit. Do you know what pisses me off the most about Jeff Bezos? He's created the biggest logistical system in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and all he's using it for is profit. He hasn't, you know, Amazon, I think I don't know if I spoke to you about this, but Amazon's got the biggest logistical database in the world. But the only thing he really uses it, well, the only thing we get told he uses it for is so somebody can get a fucking cover for their iPhone a day after they order it. Like, get a fucking grip, man. Like, do you know?
I mean, it's fantastic, and it's the most helpful thing ever. I begrudge using it, but I do use it.
My mate George, right? He's got a really good job for Gears for Music. I don't know what he found out about Jeff Bezos, but he fucking hates him. Deleted his Amazon Prime account, but he'll still ask me if he can borrow mine because he doesn't want to fucking line his pockets. But I'm just like, and he was just like, honestly, man, if you saw, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to like one day just have a proper sit down with him. I don't think I genuinely don't know if he's. So he does, I don't know how much I can talk about this actually, but he does almost, it's not, but he has to go to China every 2 years or every year, every whatever, to keep relations up with their factories.
Yeah.
For a big music company.
Yeah.
And basically, like, he's almost like has to make sure that the people who he's friendly with on emails with are treating the people okay.
Yeah.
So his relationships, got to keep relations. I'm guessing that's what it's like for a lot of people in those industries. When you're getting things manufactured offshore, you have to make sure that what you're doing is thingy.
Yeah.
Whereas it's almost
Amazon,
like
it's fucked.
don't give a shit. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. And I think that's probably where he's got this from.
It's different in the UK, obviously the way the workers are treated. But in the States, it's mental.
I've heard some fucking stories about those mega warehouses in Doncaster. Like, obviously
they're not real people. They're from Doncaster.
Yeah, true. I was just about to say, I've met a lot of people there now. I knew you'd come in with that one, so I was like, fuck that. I'm not even going there.
Yeah. I should stop using it. I really should. But and I know my moral compass when it comes to Amazon. I think that's the only thing I like. I try not to use reusable disposable plastics. Like we get the milk from the milkman. We don't I know it's milk and not vegan, but we try not to get factory farm food and stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's what pisses me off the most. So you're making an effort. I've had this inner dialogue. So I'm not really vegan anymore. Like I'm still trying to eat. I haven't eaten any meat, but I'm still trying to eat almost.
Jeez, good man.
It's not that. It's just recently, I've just found myself doing exactly the same as what you were probably about to say. I found myself hating myself for doing it, and it's almost like, hang on a second, I'm here fucking working to pay my tax to live my life, but I'm almost being constricted by the people who can fucking make a difference and do something about these problems. Yeah. But it's almost like it's the same as this whole government thing. It's almost like the burden's put on me. The burden is put on, climate change. You need to make a difference about it by not doing this. Whereas in there, exactly.
We literally can't make a difference. It's the same with with everything. They've put on the fucking COVID thing is now on us. If you get people get COVID, it's because you weren't careful. It's not because we fucked up. It's all on us. The little people, like the NHS thing, the national insurance that we're putting up, it's all on us because they know they'll get away with it. Because at the moment, I know this guy who is camping out on Parliament Square at the moment. This 6-day thing, trying to get Boris Johnson done for treason over the way they handled the pandemic. He's completely lost the plot. They're actually trying to do
he
something.
Hasn't lost the plot. That's what pisses me off. He's being ostracized. He's ostracized by us because he's taken a stand for for that one thing he believes in. But again, the burden's put on the quality of his life. He's having to camp outside. Boris Johnson isn't. Boris Johnson is just going about his daily fucking job, doing what the fuck he wants. I don't blame Boris Johnson. He's just a fucking puppet. You know what I mean? And again, this is the problem why conspiracy people get labeled with these things, because we use stupid terms like he's just a puppet. Like Brian Connolly. Was it Brian Connolly? Yeah.
It was Brian Connolly.
It's a puppet. It's a puppet. It just annoys me that the burden of the issues always get put on us, as human beings. Obviously, I don't mean they should get put on cats or dogs. I mean, my
cats do not give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. On there. Have you ever seen?
We've got a stray cat that breaks into our house every night and eats the cat's food. And I don't know what to do about
it. Put a cat trap down and just throw it out.
Cat trap. It's just a glue one.
Yeah. Just put socks on it. Have you seen it when they've got socks on? They're just like,
oh yeah, that's what. I can't catch him. He's the ugliest cat in the world as well.
Have you ever seen is it Love, Thingy and Robots? Have you seen the episode where the cats rule the world?
I've not seen any of them. But I've seen some of the art, and the art is amazing in them.
It's so good. But there's
watch it.
There's 3 robots going around. This is just on one episode. They're all different episodes. 3 robots are going around, and they get into this colonization of cats. But the cats is again, ruthless animals. They don't, as long as they're getting fed, they don't give a shit about what's going on. And this is almost like we've been given that, but we always wanted more. We just always want more. And it's the people who have the most food. They're the only people who can give it to us. And it just so happens now, I'm not talking like London roadman speak. I'm not talking about who's got the most food, bruv, like drugs. I'm talking about actual food. But we've exchanged it with money because with money we can buy food. And
money,
that's the
money.
Here he is.
There he is. He's joining.
Can you
Andy
see me?
Pisser.
I can't see you.
ya.
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Oh, hold on, hold up.
It's fine. We're streaming at the moment, but we're going to finish now because we need to start the episode. But let me just quickly jump onto the.
I'm
There
sweating
we
my
go.
bollocks off in here. I'm having to mop my brow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
hot.
sorry, boys. I'm so sorry.
It's
fine.
all right. I keep forgetting you live in an igloo, don't you? Is it snowing there yet?
No, it needs to. It's too fucking hot, man. Oh,
Yeah.
I swear, man.
Today's
I swear,
been
man.
one of the hottest days of the year.
It hasn't been fucking what for you back home or
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
30 degrees again.
I was going to say it's
Fucking
been
awful.
it's consistently been 32 degrees centigrade like all summer,
Yeah.
and it's only just now starting to cool down.
Welcome everyone to Not Another Weather podcast live stream where we talk about
We
the
literally
weather.
run
and-
out of conspiracy, so we're just going to
Yeah.
talk about weather globally.
Luckily, Dean's joined just in time to say
Hello,
goodbye
everyone.
to the streamers. I think there's 5 people watching. And yeah, it's been a little fun chat, bit of a catch
Thanks
up.
for watching, everybody. I'm sorry I couldn't be here, but
We're now going to go and we're going to start the first episode since March of Not Another Conspiracy Podcast. We promise we will be better.
It's gonna be a damn good one. Can I just say as well, while everyone's on stream, it's so nice to see you both again. It's
Yeah,
so
I
like
agree.
it's lovely.